I got a raise 3 years ago, $480 a month extra. I shook my manager's hand, walked back to my desk, and started planning exactly what I was going to do with it. 6 months later, I could not account for a single dollar of it. Not $1. No big purchase. No emergency. No obvious mistake I could point to. The money simply ceased to exist. And the worst part is that this was not the first time. It was the third. 3 raises. 3 times I stood in that office feeling genuinely optimistic. 3 times the money was gone within 6 months and left nothing behind except a slightly nicer apartment and a grocery habit that somehow cost $40 more a week. There is a name for what happened to me. Economists have studied it for decades, and once you understand the exact mechanism behind it, you will never lose another raise to it again. My name is David, and today I am going to show you why every raise you have ever gotten disappeared, and the one decision that takes 90 seconds and changes everything. Let me start with a number that stopped me cold when I first read it. For every 10% increase in income, average consumer spending increases by 9.4%, not 5, not 3, 9.4. Almost the entire raise gone within 12 months. The average American converts 94 cents of every new income dollar into new spending, which means a 10% raise on a $50,000 salary produces approximately $300 in additional annual savings, not $5,000, $300. The remaining $4,700 disappears across so many small categories that nothing ever feels like the culprit. A 15-year study tracking 3,400 households found that the correlation between income growth and net worth growth was nearly zero in the $40,000 to $90,000 range. Raises were happening. Wealth was not accumulating. Lifestyle inflation explained the entire gap. Let me show you 3 people. All earn $4,200 a month. All get the same raise to $4,600. One number. 3 completely different outcomes. James decides not to make any big changes. He is just going to let the extra money accumulate naturally. 3 months later, he moves to a slightly larger apartment. Rent goes up $150. He does not think of this as spending the raise. He had been wanting more space anyway. The raise just made it feel manageable. 6 months and James upgrades his gym membership, starts ordering lunch at work more regularly, upgrades his streaming package, switches to premium grocery brands on a few items. None of these feel like raise decisions. Each one feels like a small quality of life improvement that just happened to become affordable around the same time. 12 months after the raise, James has saved exactly $0 of it. His lifestyle costs $400 more per month. His savings rate is identical to before. Sophia gets the same raise, same day, same amount. Before she does anything else, before she tells anyone, before she thinks about what the raise means for her budget, before a single dollar of it has time to feel available, she opens her banking app and increases her automatic savings transfer by $300. She does this while still sitting in her manager's office, before the mechanisms that took James's raise have any chance to activate. The remaining $100 of the raise eventually flows into lifestyle, and she does not fight it. She just captured $300 of it permanently before the absorption process could begin. 12 months later, Sophia has $3,600 more saved than she did before the raise. Her life is also slightly better. She did not have to choose between the two. Then there is Theo. Theo has watched 2 previous raises disappear on him. He read about lifestyle inflation after the second one. He understood it completely. And then he inflated his lifestyle anyway, because understanding a trap intellectually does not prevent you from walking into it. This time, Theo does something different. On the day of the raise, before he leaves the office, he increases his automatic savings transfer by the full amount. $400. The entire raise redirected before it ever touches his checking account. His lifestyle does not change because there is no new money for his lifestyle to absorb. The raise exists only in his savings account. 12 months later, Theo has $4,800 more saved. He does not feel deprived. You cannot miss money you never saw. Same raise, same salary. 3 completely different financial realities from the timing of one decision. Now, let me explain exactly why James's raise disappeared. Because the mechanism is not obvious, and understanding it is the difference between knowing this happens and actually stopping it. Mechanism 1 is mental accounting, documented by Nobel Prize-winning economist Richard Thaler. When you receive a raise, your brain creates a new mental category for it called the new money. New money is treated completely differently from existing income. It feels more available, more flexible, more appropriate for upgrades. This is why tax refunds get spent differently than regular paychecks despite being identical money. Your raise lands in the new money account, and that account has almost no spending controls on it. You would not randomly upgrade your apartment on a Tuesday, but you will upgrade it when a pool of new money appears that feels specifically generated for improving things. Mechanism 2 is reference point adjustment. Slower than mental accounting, but ultimately more powerful. When income increases, your sense of normal shifts. The apartment that felt completely adequate at $4,200 starts to feel slightly small at $4,600, not immediately. Over 2 to 4 months, the new income becomes your new normal and the previous lifestyle starts to feel like mild deprivation. The grocery store you shopped at before starts to feel slightly low quality. The phone you have starts to feel slightly old. This is not weakness. It is how human beings evaluate everything, always relative to a shifting reference point, and reference points move upward automatically with income. Mechanism 3 is the distributed decision problem. The reason lifestyle inflation feels invisible while it is happening. James's raise did not disappear in one decision. It disappeared across 40 to 60 micro decisions over 6 months. Each one cost between $5 and $150. None of them felt connected to the raise. The gym upgrade was a health decision. The apartment was a space decision. The groceries were a quality decision. The streaming was an entertainment decision. The raise was never mentioned in any of them. But the raise enabled all of them by creating a persistent background sense that there was a little more room. And that sense of room expressed itself in every small decision made across 6 months. Mechanism 4 is social recalibration, the one nobody talks about. When income increases, social spending increases automatically because the social environment shifts. You can now afford the slightly nicer restaurant, so the group goes to the slightly nicer restaurant. You can now contribute to the group vacation, so you go on the group vacation. You bring the slightly better wine to the dinner party, because you can. None of these are extravagances. Each one is reasonable. All of them together represent a meaningful spending increase that happened with no explicit decision to spend more. A study by the National Bureau of Economic Research found that 17% of all lifestyle inflation following a raise is attributable to social spending adjustments alone. Here is the number that puts all of this in perspective. The average American receives 3.4% annual wage growth over a career. On a $50,000 salary, that is $1,700 per year in new income. If 94% is absorbed by lifestyle inflation, the average worker saves approximately $102 of every $1,700 in annual income growth. Over a 35-year career, most workers see their income triple. Their savings rate barely moves. They retire with dramatically more income than they started with, and dramatically less savings than they should have because 94 cents of every raised dollar went to reference point adjustments and distributed micro decisions and social recalibration. The fix is entirely about timing. There is a window between hearing about a raise and receiving the first new paycheck. In that window, the raise is just a number you heard in a room. It has not become part of your reference point. It has not been mentally allocated. It has not created the sense of slack that drives distributed micro decisions. That window is the only moment when the raise can be fully captured. Once the first new paycheck arrives, the mechanisms have already activated. The raise now feels like normal income, and normal income does not get redirected without a fight. The action is simple. On the same day you hear the number, before you leave the building, you open your banking app and increase your automatic savings transfer by the raise amount, the whole raise if possible. Half if the whole feels like too much, something before nothing. Before you tell anyone, before you calculate what it means for your budget, before you think about it long enough for your brain to generate reasons why some of it should stay. James is 35 now. 4 raises have come and gone. His income is $5,400 a month. His savings rate is 4.2%. He has a nicer apartment, a nicer car, a nicer lifestyle, and $12,000 saved. He cannot reconstruct where the money went because the decisions were too small and too distributed to remember individually. Sophia is 35 with the same income history. She captured $300 of each raise on the day she received it. Her lifestyle improved with the remainder. She has $47,000 saved. She has a good life and financial security at the same time because she understood you do not have to choose between them. You just have to capture the raise before the mechanisms do. Theo is 35 with the same income history. He captured every raise in full. His lifestyle looks almost identical to 5 years ago. He does not feel deprived because his reference point never shifted to include the raises. He has $89,000 saved. He is on a trajectory to retire meaningfully earlier than James or Sophia if he chooses to. The difference between James and Theo is not discipline, not sacrifice, not willpower. It is the timing of one decision relative to one psychological window. Your next raise is coming, maybe this year. Maybe it already happened, and you are already in month 3 of the window where it can still be partially captured. When you find out the number, before you do anything else, before you tell anyone, before you calculate what it means, open your banking app and increase your automatic transfer. The whole thing if you can. Half if you cannot. Something before nothing. Right now before the mechanisms activate. My name is David. 3 raises disappeared from my life before I understood what I just told you. The 4th went directly into savings on the same afternoon I found out about it. I never felt its absence. I only felt its presence 14 months later when I looked at my savings balance and saw the evidence of a decision I made in 90 seconds on a completely ordinary Tuesday. The next video covers exactly what to do once your savings account crosses $10,000. The specific moves that turn your first real savings into a foundation that actually works for the rest of your life. One question for the comments. Think about the last raise you received. Do you know specifically where it went? Not approximately. Specifically. Drop it below. I will start. Mine became a slightly nicer apartment, a gym membership I used 4 times, and approximately $0 in additional savings. You cannot do worse than that.